On today's video, I'm going to add a rotisserie to my full-size Smokeslinger. Stay tuned. Hey guys, today's an exciting day. I've been waiting quite a while for this specific part right here in my hand. This is a spit that will fit our full-size Smokeslinger. Now, a little bit of background on this. We've had a ton of requests for people wanting to add a spit-style rotisserie to their full-size Smokeslinger or even their mini. And we teamed up with a company called OneGrill, which they're out of Kansas, is where this company's from. And OneGrill makes a motorized spit-style rotisserie. And I've spent quite a lot of time on the phone with Joey there. He's one of the guys on the team at OneGrill that helped develop all of this stuff. They have a lot of different rotisseries that fit a lot of applications, even box store style pits. We wanted to add one to our Smokeslinger direct heat smoker line, and this is what we came up with. So there's a few guys that already have the mini installed on their pit. Back in, I don't know, somewhere around September, maybe late August, I can't remember exactly, all of our Smokeslinger direct heat smokers came with all of the holes drilled in them and little plates and bolts that you just simply remove, and you can add a rotisserie to it at any time. But that doesn't help out the guys that have existing units without the holes. So on this video, I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my Smokeslinger. I'm gonna show you exactly what to do to get that done. All we're gonna have to do is drill a couple of holes and we're in business. Just to kind of get you aware of what you're gonna have to have. We gotta have a cordless drill of some kind. Now, the cordless drill that I have is a DeWalt that you can get in a combo, typically are under $200, 150 bucks. For the pair, you'll get an impact and a drill, but don't spend a lot of money. Go to Harbor Freight if you don't have one and get like the Bauer or Hercules brand. Those work great. You're gonna have to have a couple of drill bits. The first drill bit you're gonna have is an 1/8 inch drill bit. And that 1/8 inch drill bit is gonna be to drill a centering pilot hole. I don't like to drill pilot holes bigger than 1/8 of an inch because we just wear out our drill bits, but an 1/8 inch will suffice on this. You're gonna have to have a drill bit that's 1/4 of an inch or slightly bigger so that you can put 1/4 inch bolts in to hold the brackets to the side of the cooker. The one thing that you're gonna have, you may only need it one time, but for this one project, but I swear you'll find other applications, is a hole saw. Now this I got at Harbor Freight. They're about $20. This is a carbide tipped precision hole saw used in the electrical industry for making what's called a 1/2 inch conduit knockout. So that we can put a 1/2 inch conduit fitting in there and tighten it down. These things are super great. They last for a really long time if you treat them right, but this also coincidentally is the same size hole you need for a regular the 1/2 inch nut on a regular thermometer whenever you put them in the side of a piece of equipment. So go ahead and buy this. If you have a habit of modifying your stuff, you'll never regret that. Some kind of a pencil that can mark on the steel. This is a grease pencil. It's a silver streak, they call it. I got these laying around because I have a welding shop. You're gonna need a center punch of some kind and a hammer. This is a good ball peen hammer. Basically what this does is when you mark your hole out, you're gonna be able to take this center punch, put it on the steel, hit it, and that's gonna make a divot that your drill bit will sit down inside of to keep it from walking all over. If you've ever drilled holes, you're gonna know what I mean. Then we gotta have a tape measure of some kind. Now this is a really good tape measure. Don't spend a lot of money. You're gonna have to measure less than 12 inches basically to do this project. Now let's go ahead and unbox this OneGrill rotisserie setup and show you what you're gonna get in the box. Now this is the $179, at least that's the current price as of this video, $179 on the OneGrill website. Now you can get this directly from us if you want. Just contact us, link in the description, or you can just call us. If you have an existing Smokeslinger pit, we're going to be able to spend a few minutes on the phone with you and help you get some more context that I may have missed in this video as well. But anyway, this is the motor side. This is the OneGrill rotisserie motor. And this, while they do have a battery powered version, I prefer the motorized version. And it's got a spline on one side that the rotisserie shaft is gonna go into. It's got a regular 120 volt plug, very low amps, so you could power that like from a power supply of some kind, battery power supply, an on and off switch. And it does have some vanes in it for ventilation. A lot of guys are asking about the gears inside of this. There's only one plastic gear and it's in there intentionally. It's designed to wear if you have a significantly imbalanced load. So that anyway, it's just all mechanical stuff there. Now there is a heavier version of this that fits exactly the same way. It's around $280. We can get you that as well. But the link in the description is for this one. Now, whenever you order this whole setup, you're gonna have to know which model you have. On their website, they have the full size. They have a special page just for the full size Smokeslinger. That's gonna be the right spit rod. That's the only difference between the mini and the full size is the length of this spit rod. It's gonna come with one set of forks. If you need extra forks, they do have that on their website. You can buy these separately, as many as you want. There's also gonna come with, this is what's called a counterweight. There's a bushing and this handle. Now the handle, you can leave it off, you can put it on, whatever you want. I'll talk more about that later. The counterweight is designed to help you balance out the load. For instance, if you've got 2 chickens on there and it's wanting to like flop when it comes around, that's what this counterweight does. We'll show that after a while. Then you're gonna get a bag full of mechanical stuff like brackets, nuts and bolts, stuff like this. I'm gonna show you which brackets to use here in just a minute. Now, a handy tip, the holes we're drilling in the side of this pit are intended specifically for the motor brackets. So we can go ahead and use these as part of the reverse engineering process of getting this thing bolted up. However, El Presidente is working on that's Dustin. He's working on a paper template that you can print out and you can mount it, tape it to the side of your pit and use it to help mark your holes with the center punch. I just don't happen to have that right now, so I'm doing it a little bit of the mechanical way here. All right, let's get this camera moved and we'll get this thing set up. Okay guys, now we're gonna lay out the holes for the motor side bracket. Now, whichever side you want, you can put the motor on. If you ordered a Smokeslinger that came with the holes are identical on both sides. In this video, we're gonna put it on the right-hand side, just because I happen to have an outlet right here that's really close, and I don't have to run a bunch of extension cords. So, but after you get the holes drilled, if you wanna change your mind later, you can totally do that. So anyway, the first bracket we're gonna put on is the motor side bracket. This is the motor side bracket here. This bracket is designed where the motor will slide down on this little ramp right here. And then after the motor's installed, then you can actually put the shaft through it and it'll all hook in. Now you can see there's a couple of different bolt patterns here. I'm choosing to do the center hole here for the spit rod. And then I'm doing these 2 center bracket holes here. That's typically what comes in your Smokeslinger pit. I don't think that you need to do the outside holes, but you could if you wanted. So I already have the holes laid out on the side of the Smokeslinger here, but I'm gonna go ahead and go through the manual motions to help you get an idea where things go. Don't forget, you should be able to get that downloadable template shortly. It's just a PDF file, you can print it on any printer. The outside dimensions of the Smokeslinger are 24 inches. So we're just gonna center that here at 12 inches. So just make yourself a mark anywhere vertically here. And if you want, you can make a couple of marks on here just so you can get a straight line. Once you're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and come down. If you have to use a tape measure, I want to have the spit rod hole exactly or really close to 3 7/16 is where I want it. Now that's hooking the top lip of the cooker, and that's the 16th mark right there, 3 7/16. So anyway, once you get that mark, just make yourself a good crosshair right there, and then you can take your center punch and put it right on that hole or right on your mark, and then give it a whack like that. Once you get that done, now you can drill the center hole. We're gonna lay out this hole first because that's where everything else is gonna have to line up with. Now, a little tip, when you're drilling with drill bits like this, speed is good with a high-speed drill bit, but don't go too fast if you have a lower quality drill bit. And then put steady, straight pressure. When you see those curly cues coming off like that, that's good. That means you're cutting properly. This is 1/4 inch thick steel, so it's going to take a little bit of time and patience to drill through that if this is your first time. If you've never drilled a hole in 1/4 inch steel before, get yourself a couple of drill bits just in case you break one. So once we got that center hole drilled, we could go ahead and lay out the rest of this, but I'm gonna go ahead and drill out that big 1/2 inch hole there. We're gonna change our drill bit out. We're gonna change our drill bit out and put our hole saw on. Now, a little tip with this hole saw. This hole saw has drilled a lot of holes, so I'm gonna take my time with it. These carbide teeth can snap off, so don't get too wild. The best thing to do is drill yourself a 1/4 inch pilot hole. Next, if you've never used one of these before, but just remember, this drill bit, you don't want to just hog on it. You want to let the drill bit do the work. So what you'll see me do is prop my elbow on the cooker typically, or whatever the surface is, so I can control how fast and how hard I'm pushing. We're gonna do that right now. See, I got my elbow propped. I got a good straight hole. When this thing starts drilling, don't let it punch through where these teeth grab. It'll snap your drill bit. Take your time and go slow. You can actually start to feel it go faster as you're punching through. Just kind of let off the trigger a little bit and just don't push the bit through. Just like hold it still for a minute and then go in really slow like I just did. And then you can kind of make yourself a mark right there. That's how big that hole's gonna be. So now that we got our mark, we can go ahead and set this bracket up on here. And you can see I've already got my holes kind of lined out there. Does that make sense? So we took that hole saw, we didn't drill this out. We just centered it and went all the way through. And then we took the teeth of this hole saw and made ourselves a circle mark so that you can locate this bracket like that. And then just make yourself a mark on here. These two can be anywhere in those slots. You can do like an oval shaped hole, whatever, pull it back off of there. Then you can make your center punch holes. The only thing that matters is that your bolt is somewhere inside of these two ovals. If you mark those out on the side of your cooker, it's gonna be a lot easier for you. Now that I've got those oval shaped holes marked where the bolts are gonna go for the bracket, I could go ahead and use this hole punch, this center punch, and mark where my holes go. And then you could go ahead and drill your pilot holes for those so that you don't lose track of them. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and drill out your hole saw hole. We got our center holes drilled, our pilot holes for the oval motor mount holes. Now we're gonna go ahead and drill out the 1/4" bolt holes. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and put our hole saw back in. And like I said, on this hole, take your time. It's gonna be a little bit of drilling. There's a spring inside of these bits, and the spring on this one bottomed out before I got all the way through. So now we can just take it on the inside of the cooker and finish drilling that out. It'll just take a second. Just make sure you drill the right hole. That's all it took, right there. Beautiful. Now we can go ahead and set up on the other side. One more thing I should touch on real quick is that the way that I'm showing you on this video is gonna have the spit on the inside of the cooker with the lid closed. If you notice, I've got 2 extra holes, one here and one here. That's so that if you wanted to, you could move this bracket up and you'd be able to put the shaft above without having it go through the body of the cooker. The only catch is you won't be able to close the lid. I don't envision myself cooking there, so I'm not going to drill those holes. I'm just gonna have the ones down here. Go to the other side and finish. Now the bracket for this side looks a little bit different. There's 2 other brackets. We want the one with the open top. When the spit rod goes through, it'll actually go through and drop down. The circle hole, you can't get any lift action out of it, so it won't work in this application. But hang on to it, you never know, you may find something else to do with it. Anyway, the hole pattern on this side is identical to the other side. So to make it easy on me, I'm actually gonna use the motor bracket on this side to finish marking out my holes. And I've already marked this out 12 inches to the center, and then 3 7/16 down from the top. 1/16 is 1/2 of an 1/8. Get our center hole drilled. Okay, so there you have it. We've drilled our holes. Now we got to start deburring these holes. One thing I would recommend is just use a file or something, but you don't want to have anything really sharp around these holes that can cut somebody when they're in here cooking. The other thing to do is make sure you do a thorough cleanup of all the metal filings that could have went inside the cooker. Last thing we want is somebody getting a bite of a piece of metal in their food. So take your time and make sure you get all the metal filings cleaned up. It's best to start with a clean cooker, in my opinion, so you can see all that easier. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do that cleanup off camera, and then when I bring you back, we're gonna bolt these brackets on. Okay guys, now we're gonna go ahead and bolt on our motor side bracket. I want my motor on the right-hand side of the pit as I look at it, because I got an outlet right here. So basically, this is the bracket we're using. It's the one with the with the lip on it here and the little ramp. And we're gonna put that on just like this right here. Now I've got some 1/4 inch bolts, 1/4 is the thread count, and I've got some little, what we call K-nuts. They got like a little toothy gear on there which helps it lock. That on there like that. Get a nut started on the inside, if I can hold on to everything. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get our bolt in, just like that, right there. Put one more in. The last thing you're gonna do is align your hole where it's centered in the 7/8 hole that we drilled. Once you get that done, we can go ahead and tighten things down. There you go. Now we can move to the other side. All right, guys, now's the exciting moment where we get to actually put the rotisserie spit inside this Smokeslinger. So real quick, I'm gonna show you. You gotta pull your top racks out. With the rotisserie, the top racks won't work. However, your bottom racks can stay in. And it's also a great way to like add some moisture if you want to put water in a pan, which I don't really do that a lot, but you can also catch the drippings from whatever it is you're cooking, such as a bunch of chickens. My recommendation is to put some full buffet pans down here, and you can set those right on the rack and then let your rotisserie go for it. Right now, we're just using a couple of forks because that's all I got. I still got to order my accessories. So anyway, let's get this rotisserie spit and kind of look at each end of it so you can identify which end goes where. So when you get your rotisserie shaft, you're going to see one end has this point that's got some square stock sort of appearance to it, which is machined into this. The rest of the spit is like a hex shape, and it's a half-inch diameter, which is half-inch flat to flat. Now, if we look at the other end, you're going to have one end that comes when you get it out of the box that's threaded. The threaded side is where we're going to put our counterweight and the little plastic handle if we want to use those. For now, the motor side is what gets the square stock side. And it's really easy to do. Basically, I'm going to shove this side through the other bracket and then bring it back into the motor when I'm ready to do that. Now the motor side has also got this square hole in it, and that's what's going to face the wall of the cooker. These two little slots right here are actually going to sit over the top of the motor bracket. So when I put this on, we're just going to take those and align them and shove that down. Now our motor is mounted. It was that easy. The other side of this over here is where we're going to put that stopper bushing. The stopper bushing looks like this. It's got a machined groove in it. It's a round inside, and then it's got this thumb screw. That's going to keep us where we don't slide sideways inside the motor, so that it doesn't like cook and then wind up working its way out and fall off of the motor shaft. So this is the motor, like a retainer bushing is what this is called. It's got the little slot in it, the groove, and that groove is going to hook right over the top of this U-shaped part. We're going to have to hold it there while we put the shaft through it. And then basically that's going to keep this to where it'll be in its position the entire time it's cooking and the rod won't fall out. The other thing is we don't have to tighten this right away, but we're going to tighten this down on the flat during the cook so that we can ensure that it stays in place. So anyway, here we go. We're going to lift this side up. We're going to put our bushing down inside like this. So we've got our bushing in here. We're going to shove the spit rod through that and slide it through, and then we can bring it down. Once we bring it down, we can slide it over towards the motor and key it in position. For now, I'm gonna leave this loose so that the rod can slide on that. Okay, now one more thing we gotta do before we can key this thing into the motor is we wanna put our forks on. Now, I'm assuming you've already got chickens on here or whatever. I'm gonna show you later on how to do it with meat on there, but for now, we're just gonna shove it in there with the forks on. So these have got thumb screws on them that you tighten against the shaft as well. We're gonna slide this out of the retainer bushing side. One fork goes on like that. The other fork goes on towards your meat so you could clamp whatever in between these. And then just to keep them from spinning a whole bunch, just kind of just lock those down loosely. Now we can go ahead and shove this into the motor. There we go, shoved in. Now if we wanted to go ahead and tighten things down, we could go ahead and rotate this retainer bushing to where it's got the thumb screw on top of one of the flats, and then we're just gonna loosely thumb tighten that. Boop, done, right there. Let's plug this thing in and see if it works. All right guys, this is the moment. Let's go ahead and turn it on, see if it goes. I love it. I like the speed of that. I think it's gonna do really good. Now the only thing we gotta do is cook something on this thing. I'm pretty excited about that. Let's talk about equalizing the load real quick. Okay guys, so here's the counterweight. And what this does is if your load, like you got chickens and they're not perfectly in balance or with each other, and you'll notice when the rotisserie goes around, it'll kind of speed up for a little bit and then slow down when it gets back under load. That's what this counterweight fixes. That's really important because if you don't put this in place, if it's needed and you don't put it in place, it will wear out the gears inside the motor. So all you do for that is you just put this on. You put on this spacer first, and then you put this part on, and then you tighten the handle down on it. Now, I'm not gonna put this handle on and stuff on mine because I wanna be able to pull this rotisserie out without having to disassemble a bunch of stuff and still leave my meat on. I'm gonna show you how to do that next. All right, so now what we're gonna do is pretend that I've got chickens on this rotisserie shaft, and we're gonna go ahead and remove it with the chickens on it without having to take like the forks out, take the end of it off, all that crap. So we're gonna go ahead and shut the lid and go like in that order. Chickens are done, open the lid. Now all I gotta do is come over here to this side and I can just loosen that thumb screw right here. Just loosen that just enough to where that shaft will slide through it. Then we can just take this whole thing and slide it. And if the handle and the counterweight are not on, we can just slide it right out like this. So you can go ahead and load up all your chickens and everything in place on this. Tumble basket, whatever accessories, assuming you can handle it by yourself. And then basically just shove it right through that retainer bushing, stick it back in the motor, then give yourself a tighten on the retainer bushing like that. Turn the motor on, we're back in business. I tell you what, overall, I really like this rotisserie outfit. Can't wait to cook some chickens on it. So anyway, guys, hey, I appreciate you watching today's video. If you don't already have a rotisserie, holler at me. We're gonna go ahead and put them on the website pretty soon. And everyone that has their existing Smokeslingers, follow this tutorial and you can be in business right here. If you've ordered a Smokeslinger after the beginning of September at some point, yours probably already came with the holes drilled and plates on it. One more question I get sometimes is, am I worried about smoke leaking out where the shaft is going through, where the rotisserie spit is going through? I have zero concern of that. Basically, the exhausts are right there too. So not to be a smart aleck, but close your exhausts off just a little bit. Open them, doesn't really matter. It's not gonna change the way your Smokeslinger cooks regardless. So anyway, guys, till next time, keep your smoke thin and blue, and we'll see you on the flip side.